it's an eclectic bunch as always. But starting with Mannequin. There you go. We'll start with a high note, Mannequin.
It can only get better.
I have never understood the appeal of that movie. It's just such a crappy little movie. Why do people?
It is.
Do people? I don't know.
I tell you who loved it. Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer loved that movie. I bet. It was a favorite of his, I'm sure.
This came out when we were in high school, I would imagine, right?
It did. Yes.
What is the appeal of the movie? Explain it to me.
You know, it was fed. It was fed into so many like junior high schoolers and that were just discovering sexuality because it was on a nonstop loop on Cinemax. Like it was one of the standbys for them. So you know, I don't know. I think it was probably. I think it just came at the right time for a certain number of people in that generation. I don't know that there's any love for it necessarily today.
No, there is actually. It is a whole thing I noticed with a lot of movies from the 80s, like really, to call them B movies is an insult to B movies. But there's a whole like subgenre of movies that came out in the 80s that are quite wretched but have quite the cult following.
Weekend at Bernie's is a good example,
and they made a sequel to that too. I mean, so yes. Oh God.
I think one of the reasons that people love it now is because it's a timepiece. I think it's a very as far as an 80s movies go, it is very 80s. I mean the clothes and the music and so forth. So I guess there's a certain sense of nostalgia that's soothed or fed by
I
this.
Get that. I mean, I get that. Totally, I totally get that. But it's just some of these movies are just not. I don't even think watchable. I mean, but that's just me.
Yeah, I feel.
Any extras on it, Adam? Do we get a director apology on it? Is there anything on it?
Is there a 30-minute interview with Misak Taylor?
Actually, no. It's. I think it's bare bones. It's all of films. They don't do a lot of extras on their stuff. But anyway, all of films. They're busy. Last month they released Mandingo, so they're on a roll now with Mandingo and Mannequin, and so it's.
Well, they're going through the ends.
There you go.
Are they about to release Bogdanovich's Mask? Are they up to that place in the alphabet yet?
They're becoming close.
What was
Man
the song?
Trouble?
The song
is that one of their titles?
What was the song from Mannequin? Was it Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now?
Yes.
That was a number one record. Yeah.
Another reason for its success. I mean, I think that
that's right.
hit songs back then really helped to propel, and vice versa.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, that song is written by Albert Hammond, who did It Never Rains in Southern California back in the early 70s. The same guy wrote that, which blows me away. It's hard for me to imagine that the same guy that wrote another Never Rains in Southern California wrote that. But anyway, so we'll move on to another title, The Spikes Gang from 1974. That's directed by Richard Fleischer. Never saw that.
That's Lee Marvin, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, but Kino Lorber is issuing that, as well as Wanda Nevada, which was one of Peter Fonda's efforts as a director. Which again, that's a blind spot for me. Haven't seen that one either. But Kino Lorber.
That's the film he did with Brooke Shields.
That's right. She was 14. 14 at the time.
It's probably not as good as The Hired Hand, his earlier film, which is.
I actually The Hired Hand is like one of his best films, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it wasn't as good as Just You and Me, Kid with George Burns, but which came out about the same time.
Well, I mean,
no, I have to admit I have a soft spot for that movie. Which I suppose I'm here. I am slamming the Mannequin fans, and that's a movie that I just recently went back to for many of the same reasons that people watch Mannequins, just to sort of
George Burns is in that though, so you got to, he comes with a lot of.
You get turned on by George Burns. Is that what you're saying, Dean? Is that what's happening?
I miss a presence in movies like George Burns. I don't think that there's anybody like him in movies today. So there is a certain element of that. But I don't know. It was just a movie that I used to watch on cable, and so
Who's the girl in Just You and Me, Kid? Is it Christy McNichol?
That's
Brooke
Shields as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Brooke Shields. Okay, I'm just catching up.
Yeah, that's why I was making the connection there, because she's in both of those.
Gotcha.
I don't even think Just You and Me, Kid ever got a commercial release on disc or tape, which is weird. But anyway, I think there's some people have recorded it and uploaded it online.
What about one?
I don't think it. Yeah, but anyway, weird. But what about Hardware Wars?
What about it?
Yeah,
what about
right.
it? I mean,
yeah, what about it?
That was Ernie Facilius, I think is his name.
Yeah,
who did
right.
Hardware Wars, and he also did Didn't he do a Close Encounters spoof as well?
There's one, and there's an Apocalypse Now one too.
Apocalypse Now.
That's right.
And with Billy Gray, and he I guess he made a lot of money off of Hardware Wars, huh? I mean, here
Probably.
it is years later, and
man,
it'll be
I remember that playing
about
late night TV. I would watch it a lot. When I was a kid.
Yeah, it would play in between, the movies on HBO sometimes, and the same thing with the other. I actually, for years, I never got to see Apocalypse Now until, and it's actually much more polished than the other two films, but I find them very entertaining.
Yeah, I heard some from what I've read. He's gone back and digitally tinkered with Hardware Wars, which is kind of ironic.
You're
serious.
kidding,
I'm
right?
dead serious.
You're kidding,
no,
right?
I'm serious.
It sounds like a joke, like a George Lucas.
Oh my God!
I thought it was, but apparently it really, that he's upgraded some of the special effects or something. But unless that was a joke, I don't know. But it didn't appear to be. But anyway.
Oh my God! That's just. Oh my God!
Well, part of the charm of that movie, part of the charm of those shorts is just their sort of extra homemade quality. I mean, that's the joke,
I agree.
In the movies, so.
But I think that's why it's coming out now, because they've cleaned it up a bit, and it's in anticipation of the new Star Wars, of course. So there you go. What about Croupier is being released?
That's a good movie.
That's like Clive Owen. I mean, that's your rival of Clive Owen, but just that's a timeless performance. That one, really, just one of his best roles.
And really, it's Mike Hodge is the director, right? The
that's right.
Director,
that's right.
Who also
Get Carter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he did a movie years later with him, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, which is equally, I think, as good as Croupier. But just some great Clive Owen work there, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yep. So that one's getting an issue, and the 30th anniversary edition of the miniseries Anne of Green Gables from '85. It's hard to believe
people love that.
Long.
They do. I know people that swear by that series. Oh my God.
That's true. It has a big following. I've never watched it, but
yeah.
I haven't. I don't have.
I just saw something. I guess I just turned off Facebook to post an announcement about the show, and I guess one of my friends was at Target, and Nicolas Cage was in line in front of him in Target. So he snapped a photo of Nicolas Cage in Target, and one of the commenters said, "Well, the good news is he can find most of his movies in the $5 bid."
That's brilliant.
Very
good.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's a great one. Oh. Yeah, all right. Well, they're issuing all of the episodes 4, 5, and 6 of the Star Wars films in standalone steelbook editions because they're going to try to milk it for everything they can, I guess.
No,
original cut, or what?
No. I think these are the same. The reissued editions from the 1990s.
Right. Let me ask you. I have a question though. Is that it's Disney though releasing it, not Fox? I mean, right? It would be Disney.
No, it's Fox. Fox is putting them out.
Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, so I was under the impression that Disney got everything. I mean, Disney got.
I thought so too.
No, so that's very interesting. Okay,
Fox still has the rights to the first 6 Star Wars movies. They didn't give that up.
Okay, so now it's just so. Let me. I guess what I'm trying to say is, so there's never going to be the one. I guess Disney can only release The Force Awakens. Then they can't release a box. There's never going to be a complete box set. I guess is what I'm saying.
And the other 50 movies that they make based on Star Wars.
Because I don't know how much time I have, folks. But I mean, I'm not that I'm going to live to see it. But when this is all done, but I was under the impression, because, Disney got Indiana Jones, from what I'm understanding, too. So Paramount still owns the 4 Indiana Jones movies then, right?
Possibly.
Probably.
Okay, this is very good. This is going to be a nightmare, a legal situation for years to come. It's going to be a nightmare.
Well, it'll all be sued with all that lovely, lovely cash coming down the pike.
The lawyers, Dean, are the ones who make the money at the end. They're the ones who will be the richest in the whole world.
It's true.
There you go. Well, got a couple of films from the one here, Two Men in Town from 1973, which I'm not really overly familiar with that film, but it's a gangster film that apparently has a following. And
who directed that? That's what I want to. Who directed that film?
It's Alain Delon is one of the stars of it.
Yeah,
Jose Giovanni. Yeah, is the director. Jose Giovanni. So, but that's. Is this
the first time it's been released on home video or DVD, or is it? Has it been? I could have sworn I've seen this movie several years ago, but I could be wrong. But
I think it's first time on Blu-ray. I think it's been available on regular DVD,
okay.
But it's a new 4K restoration. All that jazz.
Wow. Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah. So, and The Voyeur from 1994, directed by Tinto Brass. So there's so there we have those, and then we'll move along to we're on November 10th. These are titles that were released November 10th. Bad Boys 1 and 2 for the price of 1. So you get a box set of the Michael Bay duo.
Oh my God! I've never even watched those movies. I just have no interest, zero interest.
Well, I hate to admit it, but
the second one has a great car chase in the beginning. That's all I can really say. But it must seem Bad Boys 2 in the summer of 2003 is actually, considering that everything that came before that movie that summer sucked so bad. Bad Boys 2 just seemed so good at the time because everything was just such a blatant disappointment. It's like the law of diminishing. You just want to say something that's fun to watch, and you're like, oh, this is actually not bad, actually. Oh, my God, this is fun. Wow, I wish Martin Lawrence would shut up. But, no, this is good. This is actually decent.
I remember, because they shoot those in Florida, some of them. I remember that they had a big mansion in Miami that was set to be demolished. And so they said, no, let us blow it up for the movie. And that's one of the scenes in the movie. So they were able to blow up this huge multi-million-dollar mansion, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's what those movies are. So you haven't seen them, Dean, but you've already seen them. If you know.
I probably saw them last week. I mean, you didn't know it. Huh?
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, Criterion has issued the Michael Haneke film Code Unknown. So,
oh wow,
in a deluxe, one of their deluxe editions there.
Movie Unknown. So, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah,
that's
I've
one
heard
of the pre. That's one of the pre. He kind of broke through with Funny Games here in America, but he had been doing movies for a decade before then, or if not 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and the Seventh Continent. And,
the Seventh Continent.
And Benny's Video, and there's quite a number of films that are waiting to be seen by most Americans, I think. So.
Twilight Time.
Here we go.
Here we go with the Twilight Time. Edward Dmytryk directed Broken Lance, starring Spencer Tracy and Robert Wagner, and they're issuing that one. Also, Gene Peters.
That's a good Western. That's a very good Western.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while, but from what I recall, it was enjoyable. And they're also issuing Shadows and Fog, the Woody Allen, of course.
That's a tough watch.
Wait. Isn't it Woody Allen? Oh, yeah, no, Shadows. Oh, God, that's awful.
Yeah. That's not a very good Western.
No, that's Shadows and Fog. Wouldn't we agree that Shadows and Fog may be one of his worst films?
I would throw that into the bottom 10 for sure. Just excruciating.
It's nicely photographed. I will give you that. But
that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, it has a nice atmosphere, but it's and it had that. It came out about that time that Orion was struggling to stay afloat, and I think I remember them. It sat on a shelf for a year or something because I kept waiting for it to come out.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It finally,
And it has Madonna in it, but you only see her like in a window, like way far away.
Yeah.
Which was an odd directorial choice.
Yeah, and Jodie Foster and Kathy Bates are in it too, which is just bizarre. There's some interesting casting going on there. But Scorpio is another Twilight Time release. That's directed by Michael Winter from 1973. Burt Lancaster, Paul Schofield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember this on TV. Actually, watching this on TV as a little kid.
Yeah, it's another Alain Delon. He's in it too. So anyway, those are your Twilight Time. And Fatherland is another Twilight Time release, which I'm not really familiar with that one. But
is that the one with Mr. Howard?
Hold on. I'll find out. It won't take but a second here.
Yeah, I think so.
It's Ken Loach, actually. It's a Ken Loach film. So I don't believe it is.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, and it's called Fatherland?
Yeah, Fatherland, or also known as Singing the Blues in Red.
Yeah, that I know. I didn't know it was called Fatherland, though. Wow, all right. That's quite a different title.
And I'm a pretty big Ken Loach fan, so I'm going to have to investigate that.
Yeah.
And by the way, his latest film, which came out this year, Jimmy's Hall, was just released as well, and just caught up with that the other night. I would recommend that. I was going to say, if you like Ken Loach, go check out the new one, Jimmy's Hall. It's pretty good.
Isn't he on the verge of retiring? Didn't he say that he was going to stop making movies?
I don't know. I haven't heard that, but he's still exploring the same territory with this latest film. It's about a guy who opens up a dance hall, and of course it's 1920s, and there's a lot of it's in Ireland, and there's a lot of Catholic influence, and of course the church doesn't want the dance hall open, and they try every way they can to get it, closed down, and it's always it's the same kind of Ken Loach stuff, but it's compellingly done, and I would recommend it. So, but yeah, the Twilight Time stuff, if anybody's interested, you go to twilighttime.com and it's there, so you can find that stuff there. But anyway, Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine and Dr. Goldfoot and the Girl Bombs, those are Kino Lorber putting out both of those.
Must be a slow month at Kino Lorber.
Yeah.
Very slow. Yeah.
Well,
probably not Vincent Price's finest moments in those movies.
No, or Frankie Avalon's. Or Annette Funicello. She's in the first one, I think. Yeah, but yeah, those are coming out and separately. By the way, you'd think they'd put them on the same disc, but you gotta spring for the price of separate discs.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean.
Oh yeah. So there's that. One other Twilight Time title I forgot. I failed to mention: Sense and Sensibility, the one from the '90s. That is another. That's the other one I forgot. So.
Wow,
I haven't watched that in a little while.
That's a good movie, but why is that on Twilight Time? I mean,
well, they just, as I said, these studios, there's just certain titles they just don't have any interest in. There's not a big enough return for them, and they just don't care. So they just, license.
Wow, I'm
Time.
just shocked. I mean, I'm stunned.
Yeah.
I mean, she won an Oscar. She won a screenwriting Oscar for that, Emma Thompson, didn't she? I mean,
she did. Yes.
Yep.
Wow. So we'll show it with the bottom half of Dr. Goldfoot in the machine.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, that's right. There you go. But deep in my heart, Warner Archives issuing that, Jose Ferrer, Merle Oberon, directed by Stanley Donen.
Huh.
And
that's one I've never heard of.
The thing I remember about that is there was a skit on the Benny Hill show once where he goes to the movies and somehow or another they cut the T out of the credits. He's watching the movie and it comes up and it says "Deep in My Ear."
Yes, no, I remember that. Dude, Adam.
A couple of the letters are missing or something.
Yeah, from the marquee or something.
Yeah, right. That's what it was. It was the marquee.
It was a typewriter. The typewriter, and the letter T was missing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It comes up and it says "Deep in My Ear."
Yeah.
That's what I always remember about that. But anyway, Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, directed by Richard Brooks. Criterion has put that out in a terrific package. I did get a copy of that, and I have gotten a chance to look at it, and I can vouch for it. It's worth the money. It's worth the upgrade. It's they've even done a 5.1 surround sound mix on this thing, so which really is pretty interesting. There's
great score. Great score.
Yeah, the Quincy Jones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's some great extras here. There's an interview with John Bailey about director-photographer Conrad Hall's work on the film, and there's interviews with Bobby Osteen on here as well.
Oh wow! Okay.
Just so you know, and there's a 1988 episode.
She's been doing a lot of work for them. Because she went to interview the editor of Don't Look Now too, who lives in France or something. Yeah. So good on her.
Yeah.
A couple other things here. Living in Oblivion, 20th anniversary edition on that.
Wow, you're making me feel old on these shows, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it the 1948 film with Dick Powell, Pitfall?
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that's a Warner archive. They're putting that one out, as well as Shock 'Em Dead with Tracy Lords and Troy Donahue and Aldo Ray from 1991. So what a cast!
Wow.
Right? So, there's that. There's the Apu trilogy from Criterion. They're putting out all the Apu films in one box. So, and
Satyajit Ray.
That's right. Yeah. So all of those, and the old Abbott and Costello. Well, I guess you'd just say. Well, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. They're putting out a Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's not the one with Lou Costello, so I stand corrected. It's a newer version. Sorry about that. But Troll and Troll 2, Scream Factory, and Troll 2 has this whole thing going on. Where it's become a cult film where people they're having screenings of it and thing. I don't know. There's a whole culture.
Well, there's a movie. Was there a documentary made about it?
There was a movie called Best Worst Movie.
Yeah.
Best Worst Movie.
We had everybody from that. We had everybody from that movie on the show, actually, including the star of Troll 2 and the that was 2007. I mean, that was years ago.
Yeah. So.
Troll 2 is incredibly fun to watch. You know, if you're in the mood for a bad movie, you can hardly do better than that.
Well, here's an interesting title for you guys. How about Wide of the Eye, directed by Donald Cammell? Remember this guy? He was, directed Demon Seed, and then he killed himself, committed suicide, I think, not long after he directed Wide of the Eye.
And also dinner with my dad? He killed himself. He had to come over here and have dinner with my dad? I mean, I want to do that every night, but I mean...
Well,
he also co-directed... He also co-directed the great movie Performance.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So anyway, Wide of the Eye. And I remember when that came out. I never saw it, so I need to catch up to that. Here's
it's pretty
one
brutal from what I heard. From what I've heard, it's
I think so.
Hang on, Donald Cammell.
Yeah.
Do you know the story of his suicide?
No, I don't recall. It's been a while. So.
He took his own life in 1996 at the age of 62 with a gunshot to the head, but he fired into the top of his head instead of the roof of his mouth, which resulted in him still being alive and conscious for up to 45 minutes afterwards, and reportedly in a happy, euphoric state. The fact that he didn't die instantly was not accidental. In fact, he allegedly requested that his wife and writing collaborator, China Cammell, hold up a mirror so he could watch himself die.
Wow.
Jeez.
Jesus.
That's a theory.
And you wonder why he made the movies he did.
A cheery Thanksgiving tale. And strangely enough, isn't there a scene in Performance where you get a bullet eye view going into somebody's head?
Yeah, I think so.
There is the scene, so that's pretty weird.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
this
a
show
story.
This show is going off the rails like Spencer.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, we got a couple of more interesting titles here. Don't Look Back, the D.A. Pennebaker documentary on the Bob Dylan tour. Criterion has put that out, and there's all kinds of copious extras there for fans of that.
He shot so much footage on that he actually ended up releasing a couple of movies.
That's right.
So,
Pennebaker's busy doing press to promote that release, so we're not going to get him until after the Blu-ray comes out and the press is done for it.
Mhm. Okay.
So 8 Men Out. Olive Films is issuing that. So,
classic.
Which I revisited not too long ago and liked it quite a bit more than I did the first time I watched it. I remember back when I wanted to make movies, that was a movie that I wanted to make, with the whole Black Sox scandal. And I think when I went to go see it, it didn't conform to what I thought it should be. But years later, I've gone back to it, and it's really quite good. It's
it's
one of Sales's best movies, I think.
It's the golden age of John Sayles. I've seen everything by Sayles up to, I guess, Silver City, and then I'm a little bit hazy after that. But I've seen everything up to Silver City.
Yeah, that's me too. And then I get lost. Like there's some of his movies like Casa de la Babies or whatever.
That's an oddity. You have to really love him. And I saw a screening of that when that came, and I was just like, he was beginning. That's when he was starting to lose me. And before that, you had Sunshine State, which I thought was superb.
Yeah, it still definitely. Mm-hmm. What I want to see is City of Hope. That's the movie I want to see.
Oh, that is an excellent John Sayles. That's awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good one. So Ghost Story is being issued by Scream Factory from 1981. And
what was that? Melvin Douglas? It was
Fred Astaire, John Houseman, and I'm trying to think who the other one was.
Is George C. Scott? It's not George. No, it's not George C. Scott.
No, it wasn't George C. Scott. I can't remember.
I'm thinking of Changeling, right? That's Changeling.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
okay.
right. But they're the four old men, and when they were youngsters, it's actually Douglas Fairbanks Jr. That's who it is. And,
right. This was a big deal when it came out. This was huge. I remember when this movie came out. It was a huge deal.
Yeah. And let's not forget Craig Wasson.
Oh, that's that's right.
That's right. Yeah, you're good call there, man.
I'd love to see the behind the scenes of that, so I could see the clip of Craig Wasson saying, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Yeah. So there you go. And the 1971 horror film Blood and Lace is being issued by Scream Factory. That's Melody Patterson, Gloria Graham, and Vic Tayback are in that. And
Gloria Graham, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've never seen that, but it looks real interesting. And Scream Factory is putting both that and Ghost Story out, so they're responsible for both of those. Heartbreakers with Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt and Gene Hackman.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Oh, God. Jennifer Love Hewitt in that movie. Oh, man.
Yeah, no, nice pair of Hewitts there. But,
and Gene Hackman is genuinely hysterical in that movie.
Yes, no, he is.
See it for Hackman and, Jennifer Love Hewitt portions of her.
Stay for the breast.
Well, Ikiru, Criterion has issued that, and I'll vouch for that one too. Got that one, and the Kurosawa film about the businessman who's dying of stomach cancer, and he in his final days wants to build a playground to have a lasting legacy after his life is over. And this is a beautiful life-affirming film, and there's 4K restoration, and it looks great. There's tons of great extras, a nice little booklet there, so I want to recommend Ikiru. That's one of the ones I've actually had time to catch up to.
One of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. How about It Runs in the Family with Kirk Douglas, Michael Douglas, and directed by Fred Schapisi. So,
run from that family. That's what it should be.
Yeah, there you go.
Dude, that movie just, a double feature of that and the remake of The In-Laws, and you'll just, well, that's what it was. Oh my God.
Put that on a double feature with this next release I'm getting ready to talk about, and then you've got something which is Larger Than Life, directed with starring Bill Murray.
Oh God, that movie's
the elephant movie, right? That's the elephant movie. Oh man.
No relation to Operation Dumbo Drop, of course.
Well, now there's the double feature you keep forgetting. That's the double feature. That's the double feature. Operation Dumbo Drop and Larger Than Life. Oh my God.
It'll be playing at the Beverly next month.
And Tarantino probably loves both of those movies.
It just might.
Operation Dumbo Drop and Marlon Brando and Island of Dr. Moreau. I think
that would be a good dude, I would be first in line for that.
So, we have Susan Seidelman's Making Mr. Right with John Malkovich and Glenn Headley. That's Olive Films putting that out.
I love that movie.
That's Anne Magnuson, right? Anne Magnuson.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
one
true.
One of her best performances. I would have to say that is her. That is her performance. That is just a tour de force performance from her.
We don't see Glenn Headley anymore, do we?
No, we don't.
No. She was good. I liked her. I thought she was a unique presence.
Yeah. So Mr. Saturday Night, directed by Billy Crystal. What do we want to say about
that? That's an exceedingly unpleasant movie, though, in an interesting way. And if we remember, that's the movie that what's his name got an Oscar nomination for. The guy playing his brother,
David Paymer.
David Paymer, right?
Yeah.
That's
right.
One of the more surprising Oscar nominees of all time.
Yes. Well, one of the funniest anecdotes I know about that movie was on the Howard Stern show. They used to send Stuttering John out to do these celebrity interviews. So, and I bet Jamie knows where I'm going with this. I'm sure he does. So, anyway, they send him out to interview Billy Crystal, and the first or second question out of his mouth is, "So, how soon are you planning on doing Mr. Saturday Night 2?" And that's when Billy Crystal responds by saying, "This is not funny. This is not fun," which has been a recurring soundbite on the show for years.
Yes,
so,
yes. It's not funny. It's not fun. Lighten up. I mean, he's a comedian, for God's sakes. I mean, if anyone should lighten up, it's him.
Yeah, exactly. But I just had to share that. Anytime I see Mr. Saturday Night, I just remember that always. So, Smooth Talk from 1985 with Treat Williams and Laura Dern and Mary Kay Place.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
I love that movie.
And The Hurricane from 1937.
Oh, okay.
Which was remade in 1979. Remember that one with Mia Farrow, the ill-fated remake produced by Brett Bueller?
I do remember that. I don't.
That was going to be directed by. It was going to be directed by Polanski.
Yes, it was. That's true. I totally forgot about that. It's true.
That would have been an interesting entry in his career.
Yeah. So, The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant, starring Casey Kasem and Bruce Dern.
Wow.
There's a cast for you. Yeah.
Nobody thinks to ask. Nobody thinks to ask Bruce Dern what it was like to work with Casey Kasem, do they? That would be my first question.
Not at all.
Well, hopefully we'll get for the Hateful Eight, and you can ask that.
Yeah. So that would have been that should be the question burning on everybody's lips when they interview Bruce Dern. So Herbert Klein, the director of The Kid from Cleveland from 1949, it had George Brent and Lynn Barry and Russ Tamblyn. So it's another one there.
His greatest role, Russ Tamblyn's greatest role, is War of the Gargantulas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's War of the Gargantulas. I mean, is there anything that... Oh, never mind. I'm going to shut the fuck up.
So the 1961...
Any chance that you can get to fit in War of the Gargantulas into a conversation, take it.
Yeah, put it in there.
I'm going to have to... And you want to know why. You know where that comes from, dude. And I've always been a big fan of the movie, but... remember a couple of years ago in the Oscars where they interviewed people what their first memory of the movies was, and what's Brad Pitt's first memory? War of the Gargantulas. It's surreal. You're watching it. You're just like, really? You, Brad? You didn't watch it. There's no way you watched that movie. I mean, I had to bring that up because it's such a surreal moment watching it. Mm-hmm. Brad Pitt on War of the Gargantulas. Whoa.
Well, we talked the last time, I believe, or maybe it was the time before that, we mentioned Herbert Ross. Well, one of his final films, Undercover Blues, Kathleen Turner, Dennis Quaid, and Fiona Shaw. That's being issued in 1993.
Wow. Oh, God, I feel so old when you talk about some of these things. I want to really slip my wrist.
As well as Voodoo Man with Bela Lugosi from 1944. That's getting issued, and The Mask in 3D, not the Jim Carrey, the horror film from 1961.
Now that's a crazy movie. That is a really nutty movie. It's about a guy who, it's a lot like the Jim Carrey movie in concept. He gets a mask, puts it on, and that's where you see the 3D stuff. Is when you see the world through his eyes wearing the mask.
Yeah.
And that's where the 3D comes in. And I've got a book called Incredibly Strange Films that was put out by, I think it's totally out of print now, but it's put out by the Research Institute of, that came out of San Francisco. They put out a whole bunch of weird books. Mm-hmm. And that's the film that's on the cover, the still from The Mask. And it is an incredibly strange movie. I'd like to watch that again.
Yeah, and this 3D supposedly is the new, not the old style like blue-green 3D. This is the new 3D. They've upgraded it to the current 3D technology, so it should look good.
Okay.
So here's a movie that we probably want to forget, but I'll mention it. Almost an Angel, Paul Hogan.
Oh my God, you're right. We definitely want to forget this.
Wait. The negative survived?
I guess it did. You know, this was after, you know, he divorced his wife and he married his co-star from Crocodile Dundee, and I guess he thought they would have this long career together, and she's in the movie with him, Linda Kozlowski, and John Cornell, who directed the Crocodile Dundee flicks, he directed, but didn't do much business from what I remember.
They were.
So.
Let me check. Let me double check this. But
yeah, their
marriage. They just divorced last year, so their marriage lasted.
I missed
that.
Yeah,
a lot of Fosters.
The sequel to that movie. Was called Nowhere Near Watchable, which I thought was good.
Yeah, that's good. What about At First Sight with Val Kilmer, Mira Sorvino, and Kelly McGillis?
I've never seen that. Is it any good?
I didn't see it either. I remember no puns there, but
that's the one that
didn't see it.
That's the one that Val Kilmer wore the contact lenses that actually made him blind in the movie. And,
that's right.
Yeah. And then Pacino was like, I just use my peripheral vision to do, it's acting.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. That's it. So, and I believe that pretty well takes care of November. I think.
God, November's lame as shit.
Yeah.
There were only a few decent titles in there, but it's better. It's better than the cavalcade of horror films we usually get. So.
No, I agree, Dean. I agree with you 100% there. No disagreement there.
Well, we gotta be getting the Silent Night, Deadly Night 100th edition next month, though. I mean, that's got to be on the horizon.
Probably so. I would say probably so. But there is one new film you might want to mention that the documentary on Dennis Rodman's trip to North Korea is now available. Dennis Rodman's Big Bang in Pyongyang.
Where can I get that? Do I get that with a double feature of Double Team with Mickey Rourke and Van Damme?
Well, there you go.
I mean,
so
that's a great title.
That's the name of it. No kidding.
All right, guys.
Pyongyang.
Thank you, Alan.
All right.
It was so nice to hear from
Adam.
you.
Oh yeah, likewise. Always great to connect with you guys and tell you what's happening on the video front.